everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a review and wear test of the new Tarte Shape Tape Foundation in matte. So I only got the matte one because that's just kind of my preference for high-end foundations. So I do like some like lighter weight high-end foundations, but usually if I'm gonna splurge on a high-end foundation, I like it to be matte and full coverage and really give me like that extra oomph, because it's really difficult to find a really good matte foundation at the drugstore, but you can find a lot of like medium to sheer coverage foundations at the drugstore. So that's my personal opinion, that's why I got this guy, and that's why I wanted to review this guy. If you are new to my channel, then welcome. Thank you for joining us here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go. And yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. So this is like the talk of the town on YouTube right now, so I'm very, very excited to do this review for you guys. It's something that I've been looking forward to. I've had to avoid everybody's video, but let's get real. So I'm extremely disappointed in this foundation because of their shade range. So I don't know what in the world Tarte was thinking when they released this foundation and they only gave it 16 shades, and 13 of those are all fair shades. They're not even medium shades, they're fair. So I don't know what that is. I'm a very fair complected person, but I know because I usually self-tan a little bit, so I have a little bit of color, so I can find shades easily. When I didn't self-tan, I was a shade porcelain, and most foundations would start at ivory, and it would be too dark for me already. So I know the struggle of like trying to find something that's too light, so this is a range that's really good for people like that. So most of their foundations are on the really, really light side, so it'll be very easy if you're a very, very, very fair complected person to find a foundation. However, I know that most of this country is not fair complected, but it's really not fair for a company like Tarte, who has, you know, their average Amazonian clay foundation has like 40 shades. It's really, really not fair for a high-end company like this to come out with something that is so hyped and amazing and give it that type of shade range, knowing that you are leaving a huge, huge portion of your customer base out of it. So there's a lot of people who really like Tarte items who aren't able to try this foundation, but they would love to. And so since they didn't release it in the beginning, I know that they're already saying that they're gonna come out with 10 more shades. Hopefully they're all medium and deep shades, because this is ridiculous. I mean, I really, really hope that some people give them a second chance, but I know a lot of people, you know, this kind of just put a bad taste in their mouth, and so they're just kind of giving up on Tarte. So now that we got to the tea. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out of the package. This is what the bottle looks like. So it's a very, very nice heavyweight bottle. It is gorgeous. A lot of people don't like this because it doesn't come with a pump. Instead, it comes with a giant doe foot applicator, just like the Tarte Shape Tape. I am a fan of the Tarte Shape Tape. I think it can be a little bit drying, but I am a fan of it. I do like foundations. Can you guys settle down, please? I do like foundations with this type of applicator, but I know a lot of people don't, because if you take it and you spread it across your face and your face has bacteria and then you put it back in the foundation, you're like contaminating your own foundation. Personally, I'm not that big of a deal of it, but I mean, to each their own. So I got this one in the shade Fairlight Neutral. Tarte foundations have the tendency to oxidize on me, so I went something super light. I don't even know that I got something that was light enough. So this may oxidize, it could look really bad, it could look really good. I might have to wear a high collared shirt. I don't know, but we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna apply half of my face with a beauty blender, half with a brush, so we can decide which application I like better. And I did go ahead and prime my face. So this is a water-based primer, so you're gonna wanna use a water-based foundation, so you're gonna wanna use a water-based primer. So I went ahead and primed my face with the One Heck of a Blot Soap and Glory primer, and then some Smashbox primer water. I do have very oily skin. Lately it's kind of been more like normal because we've had some really, really cold weather here in New Orleans, but for the most part I have very oily skin. I usually have to blot throughout the day, so that's why I go ahead and prime my face, because I want to give each foundation the benefit of the doubt. But let's go ahead, and then we'll go ahead and we'll take a couple dots up there, one dot on my chin, and then maybe a little bit along the nose and top lip. So that was 2 whole swipes with the applicator, just what I took it out of the bottle as. So I'm gonna do this side with the brush, or actually I think this side was the beauty blend. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Usually a beauty blender is what I prefer for full coverage matte foundations because I like to sheer them out a little bit more and have them like really sink into the skin. Oh, okay, you guys see that? Oh my god, it's oxidizing already. Can you guys tell there's a difference between this color and this color? So this is what's blended out. It's already oxidizing. This is what hasn't blended out. So I don't know what it is about my skin, but Tarte everything oxidizes on me. Even my Shape Tape oxidizes on me a little bit. So, you know, I know that. So if a product that I'm really interested in, then I know that I just need to go up a shade. Usually even a half a shade won't work. I usually have to go up like a full shade. And then really make sure I blend it on. Alright. So that is one side. This is what it looks like with the beauty blender. I mean, I really liked the coverage. I think it did blend it out quite a bit, or sheared out quite a bit. It wasn't super full coverage. I also think I could use a little bit more foundation around my nose, and honestly a little bit right here at the bottom of my jaw. So I am gonna go ahead and take the applicator again, and I'm gonna layer up a little bit more here along the jaw, add a little bit to the chin, some more to the nose, and I'm gonna add a little bit more on my forehead too. So far it's like 4 swipes of the applicator. I'm gonna blend this guy out. It doesn't feel really thick and heavy on the skin for a what's supposed to be super full coverage foundation, but that is matte. So I do have a little bit of a shine. It's almost like a demi matte or a satin matte finish. I wouldn't say that it is matte. My skin is just typically it's just naturally kind of dewy. I just am fortunate enough to have that type of skin tone. So this is what my bare skin looks like, so you can see how shiny and dewy it is. It's not that it's oily, it's just that, you know, my skin is just that supple and plump. So this side has a little bit of a shine still peeking through, which is what I like. So I can't complain there. That's the only reason why I would say it's a little bit more of a satin matte finish if you have that type of skin. If my skin was really congested and it was really dull right now, I do think that this would be a very matte foundation. So next I'm gonna go in on the other side and blend it out with a brush. This time I'm gonna blend it out with a brush. I'm gonna start with just stippling motions. So this is the side with the brush. It definitely gave me much more full coverage. It doesn't look like it's oxidizing as fast as the side that I used the beauty blender on, which is strange, but okay. I mean, I honestly like both sides. Like, I feel very comfortable in wearing it either way. I think the side with the beauty blender sinked into the skin quite a bit faster. That might also be why it oxidized faster. But that's kind of to be expected. Usually that happens. It takes a little bit longer for a brush side to sink in. It did give me a little bit more full coverage, but it still doesn't feel uncomfortable on the skin. So like I said, I'm happy with both sides. I'm just gonna leave it as is. I might take a little bit of the foundation and put it on my neck. And I'm just gonna kind of blend it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup, and then I will hop on here when I am finished. Alright guys, so I am back. My makeup is done. I'll leave, oh, I got like a glare. Ooh. I'll leave my makeup details down below in the description box. So everything that I used, I did use the Shape Tape Concealer. However, it might be a little too light for the color of this foundation. But that's okay. We're just gonna make it work. So I did have to go ahead and set my makeup because I want to give this, like I said, the fair trial, and I set my makeup on an everyday basis because I do have oily skin. So I don't want my makeup to shift and move around, and if I don't set it, it honestly will, and I don't think that that's fair to a foundation, because to me a bad foundation is when I set it, then it moves around. So when I set this guy, I mean, it is like locked in place. My skin feels nice and smooth. It doesn't feel tacky anywhere. The foundation before I set it was just a little itty bitty bit tacky. I mean, if you had dry skin, it probably would have absorbed it and you probably wouldn't have set the foundation to begin with. That's just not my skin type. So I do feel like it's oxidized a little bit further. It still kind of matches, especially on camera you can't see it, but in natural daylight, it's oxidized a little bit more. So if I didn't have any self-tanner on, I definitely couldn't wear this foundation, but we'll still kind of see how it goes. Sometimes, usually it stops oxidizing at this point for most of my foundations, so I really don't think it's gonna get any darker. So it is 8:55 right now, so I'm gonna finish getting ready for work. I'll take some pictures of it in natural daylight. I'll take some pictures in the fluorescent lights at work, and pictures with flash, and I'll kind of insert them here. And then at the end of the day, I will jump back on here and tell you how it looks. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright you guys, and I am back. So let me get my phone. So it is 9:52 p.m. So this foundation's been on for, if you guys have not been Bentley, this is Bentley. So the foundation has been on for, like I said, 13 or almost 14 hours, which for me, an average wear day is anywhere between 10 and 12. So this was kind of on the long side. I just ended up having a long day at work. So, you know, this kind of was put off a little bit longer than anticipated, but still, I think overall it wore pretty well. So you can see I'm pretty shiny in here across my forehead and on the, like in the cheek area. And that's where I tend to get really, really oily. Yes it is. It's where I tend to get really, really oily. As for how it wore, let me see if I can zoom you guys in a little bit. So you can definitely see it's worn off a lot right in here through my nose and quite a bit here on my chin. To me, that's just like regular wear because I touch my face so much. It's not because the foundation just wore off. So you can still see a lot of my bronzer. You can definitely still see my highlights. My brows don't look like they faded, and a lot of the time I find that my brow products fade because the foundation is really bad. Across my forehead, it looks really, really smooth. It's worn off quite a bit around my mouth too, but you know, that's not surprising. I will say I see a little bit of fading right in here, and it's gone a little bit patchy. So it could be that I hit myself in the face with something on the side of my face and I just don't remember, or that the foundation really is kind of going patchy right in here. But you know, I kind of see a little bit of the same thing. It's a little bit faded on this side as well. So, you know, it's not too bad. So, to be honest, I'm impressed by it. I'm not disappointed in the product by any means when it comes to the longevity of it and how it wore throughout the day. I did find that it creased pretty heavily in my smile lines and my expression lines on my forehead. It was pretty noticeable, like almost within 10 to 15 minutes after finishing my makeup, I noticed that it had started to crease quite a bit. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but I usually use a product to kind of help prevent foundations from creasing. So I think that's just what I'm gonna have to do with this product in order to ensure that it really doesn't sink deep into my expression lines. My only other gripe that I wasn't a huge fan about is that it felt pretty drying on my skin. Even though I have oily skin and I'm super duper oily in here, like very, very oily, and I'm very, very oily on my forehead, it still still feels pretty drying on my skin. So I would definitely recommend, even if you have oily skin, using a hydrating primer with this, but it should be like a water-based hydrating primer. So I don't think the priming spray, like the Smashbox priming spray I used this morning, was enough. I would have to use the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. That one is one of my favorite hydrating primers. So I'd probably have to use something like that. The Becca First Light Priming Filter, I'm a huge fan of that one as well. Maybelline just came out with a new, just straight, it's called like the hydrating primer from Master Prime, I can't remember. But that's also just a really, really good one. And those are all water-based, so they're gonna agree really, really well with this foundation. So, personally, I wouldn't say that this is like, oh my god, the best high-end matte foundation I've ever tried. But I'm definitely not disappointed in it, and it's definitely something that I am going to continue using. So that is everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the new Tarte Double Duty Shape Tape Foundation. If you guys did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you guys have not already, and I will see you guys later. Bye!